Alone in the Rockies, my 47-day fight for survival. I never imagined that a simple hiking trip through the Rocky Mountains would turn into a 47-day battle between life and death. My name is Ethan Walker, and this is the true story of how I survived alone in one of the most unforgiving wilderness regions in North America. It was supposed to be a 7-day backpacking adventure. I had spent months planning the trip. My backpack was loaded with food, water filters, emergency gear, and a satellite communicator. Everything was carefully prepared. Or so I thought. On the third day, a powerful storm rolled across the mountains without warning. The sky turned black. Winds howled through the pine forests. Rain quickly transformed into freezing sleet. I decided to leave the main trail and take what looked like a safer route through a valley. That decision changed everything. As visibility dropped, I lost my footing while crossing a steep rocky slope. I fell nearly 30 feet, crashing into boulders below. When I finally stopped rolling, pain shot through my left leg. It was broken. My satellite communicator had shattered during the fall. I was completely alone. No signal. No way to call for help. And no one knew exactly where I was. The reality hit me harder than the fall itself. If I wanted to see my family again, I would have to survive on my own. The first night was terrifying. Temperatures dropped below freezing. Every movement sent waves of pain through my body. I used trekking poles, branches, and paracord to build a crude splint for my leg. Then I crawled beneath a rocky overhang to escape the wind. Sleep never came. Only fear. The next morning, I took inventory. Most of my food was gone. Several supply bags had been lost during the fall. At best, I had enough food for 5 days. I needed water, shelter, and a long-term survival plan. Fast. The Rockies are beautiful, but they can also be deadly. Mountain weather changes by the hour. Predators roam the forests. And isolation can destroy a person's mind long before hunger destroys the body. Using fallen branches and pine boughs, I built a small shelter near a creek. The flowing water became my lifeline. Every day, I filtered water and collected firewood. A fire meant warmth. Warmth meant survival. The days blended together. I learned to move using a makeshift crutch. Each step was agony. But staying still was even more dangerous. I searched for edible plants, berries, and anything that could provide calories. Some days I found enough food. Other days I went to sleep hungry. The hunger was relentless. Within 2 weeks, I had lost more than 20 pounds. My clothes hung loosely from my body. My face became hollow. But the physical challenges were only half the battle. The loneliness was crushing. For days, I heard no human voices. Only wind through the trees. Only rushing water. Only silence. I began talking to myself. At first, it felt strange. Eventually, it became necessary. It reminded me that I was still human. One afternoon, around day 18, I encountered a black bear. It appeared suddenly near the creek. For several terrifying seconds, we stared at each other. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it. Slowly, I backed away while making noise. Fortunately, the bear lost interest and wandered off. But the encounter reminded me how vulnerable I truly was. Every day carried new risks. Injuries. Exposure. Starvation. Predators. One mistake could end everything. Around day 25, snow began falling. Winter was arriving early. The temperatures became even more brutal. I spent nearly every waking hour gathering wood. Without fire, I would freeze to death. My shelter evolved into a stronger structure. I reinforced it with logs, branches, and layers of pine needles. It was uncomfortable. But it kept me alive. Then came one of the darkest moments of the entire ordeal. Around day 32, I developed a severe infection from cuts sustained during the fall. Fever hit hard. My body weakened. For nearly 3 days, I barely moved. I genuinely believed I might die there. Alone. Forgotten. Lost somewhere in the endless Rocky Mountains. But giving up never felt like an option. Every morning, I forced myself to focus on one goal. Survive today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Just today. One day at a time. That mindset became my greatest weapon. As the days passed, my broken leg slowly improved. I could move farther from camp. I began searching for higher ground. I hoped to find a location where search aircraft might spot me. On day 43, I climbed a ridge overlooking miles of wilderness. The view was breathtaking, but there was no sign of rescue. No helicopters. No planes. Nothing. For a moment, despair nearly overwhelmed me. Then I noticed something in the distance. A faint trail. Not an animal path, a real trail. Human-made. Hope surged through me. The next 4 days became the hardest journey of my life. Weak, injured, and exhausted, I followed that trail. Each mile felt impossible. But I kept moving. Hour after hour. Step after painful step. Then, on the morning of day 47, I saw something I hadn't seen in nearly 7 weeks. People. 2 wildlife researchers were working near a remote access road. At first, they thought I was a ghost. I probably looked like one. I had lost nearly 50 pounds. My beard was wild. My clothes were shredded. And my body was barely functioning. When they realized I was alive, they immediately called for emergency assistance. As rescuers arrived, emotion overwhelmed me. I wasn't just being rescued from the wilderness. I was being rescued from 47 days of fear, pain, hunger, and uncertainty. Today, years later, I still think about those days in the Rockies. The mountains taught me something I'll never forget. Human beings are far stronger than they realize. When everything is stripped away comfort, technology, certainty, what remains is determination. And sometimes, determination is enough to keep you alive. For 47 days, the Rocky Mountains tested every limit I had. But they didn't break me. And that's why I'm here to tell this story today.